Joe, thank you very much for joining us. I think the obvious place to start is how you're finding it. How's lockdown for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like everyone else, it's a bit surreal. I think it's definitely put things into perspective. Obviously, not training and having that schedule is difficult, but I think, like I say, it probably sounds cliche, but just to be at home, like with family and healthy and safe is the main thing. I think there's some bigger things going on in the world than football at the minute. So, yeah.
Do you find it easy to be at home and to be sort of just around close family, or are you somebody that needs to be busy all the time?
I think I think I'm definitely a family person, and I'm quite boring in the sense that generally I just go training and come home anyway. Me and my missus had a little one, like he's a 10-month-old now, so he's keeping us very busy. So yeah, it's just me, her, and the little one. So yeah, it's quite quiet, but we're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Joe, I'll just take you back to your early career. I remember watching, I'm sure you remember this game very well, playing for Charlton against Chelsea's youth team. I think it was like a quarter-final or something like that. I went along to watch the game, FAU Cup. Nathan Ake played midfield that day for Chelsea. And I remember watching you and thought, wow, he is a very, very good player. He looks so assured, calm on the ball. And stayed at Charlton for a little bit longer. But then you made that big move to Liverpool. How difficult was that for you to make that move to Liverpool?
Yeah, yeah, that day I was very nervous, by the way. That Chelsea team was frightening. But, yeah, I think, like you say, I stayed for a bit longer, managed to get, I think it might have been the season after or the following one, get some time with the first team and played some games. And then it was sort of like I just had a close-knit unit of my dad and my agent. And obviously being at Charlton was my local team and where I grew up. But obviously the aim was to always progress and move on. So like the summer when the season sort of ended and we started like hearing inklings of things of a couple options, it was like daunting because all I knew was London, Southeast London. I was still living at home with mum and dad and stuff. But I think at the time, obviously, I went and met Brendan and he just made me feel assured. And I knew it wasn't going to be a straightforward process. That was something I had to think long and hard about in terms of a team with the stature of Liverpool. I wasn't going to like walk into the team and expect to play. And it may take me a few seasons of loans and bouncing around here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar situation. I signed for Liverpool as a 17-year-old, and to go there, I know you're from London, but to make that move, you must have been incredibly brave and confident to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think football was all I knew, so it was just sort of like, looking back, it was daunting. It's a massive club, and I don't think I realised the stature of the club, to be honest. No. To be totally honest, like moving and what I was getting into in terms of the expectation and the pressure. I mean, obviously you played there for a lot longer than I have so far, but I think you have to sort of take it head on and expect that when you don't perform, that you have to take it on the chin, that there's going to be backlash. Not in a sense of negative, but just expectation. I think around the club, it has such a strong history that
I agree.
You have to uphold that.
What was it that made you realise the sort of size of the move?
I think that just as soon as I went into pre-season, I was used to just staying in the UK and going for a training camp somewhere. And like my first pre-season, we went to Thailand, and it was like we turn up to the hotel, and it's ridiculous, like security everywhere and just hundreds of people. So I think straight away from there, I realised like, wow. And then we flew straight to Australia and we played against Brisbane Roar, and stadium was packed. And that was the first time I heard "You Never Walk Alone," and then it was like, yeah, this is a different scale.
Because Joe, the progression of your career, I mean, you were a sort of child prodigy in many ways. You were playing under-18 football when you were 13, and you were someone who was kind of always tagged all the way through. How important was Charlton for you in terms of your development, in terms of you studying the game and learning your position?
Yeah, massive. Just as a whole, I was lucky to be in the academy, and there was definitely periods when I was younger at Charlton where they had to show faith in me, just going through a phase of growing spurts and little niggly injuries and sort of finding your feet. I was probably Bambi on ice for a little bit. And then I think the main influences were Steve Avery and Paul Hart. I think Paul Hart obviously was a known defender in his day, and he definitely like prepared me for men's football and what it meant. Not just on the development side, but what the game meant and playing for points and playing and the psychological aspect of things in that sense. But Steve was definitely one to help hone and just work on my ball control and that sort of thing. So it was a massive influence on me that period at Charlton, and yeah, it definitely shaped me.
Joe, I just want to talk to you about your partnership with Virgil van Dijk. I mean, it's incredible how well you get on together on the pitch. Is that something that you formed off the pitch as well? Have you become good friends?
Yeah, 100%. I think I said it before, but just obviously the stature of Virgil when he came to the club was obviously massive, and I was sort of like a young centre back. I hadn't really got as much games there as I would have liked, but as soon as he came in, like he just reached out with open arms, and we formed a bond straight away. I think just the fact that he's a down-to-earth person off the pitch, like we get on really well, and yeah, off the pitch we have a great relationship. Like we talk, and at times like this, just FaceTime and casually speak about just general things in life. So that helps on the pitch when you just have an understanding and he's your mate at the end of the day.
What was he like to play alongside though, Joe? Because we can see from the outside he's very vocal.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it gives me an earful, but it's a massive help and a confidence booster. Just having someone like him beside you. I think when there's a 1v1 battle, you know he's going to dominate. I think every header, he doesn't really lose headers at all. So I think just having him alongside you, just his presence, and I think that's not just me, the team, and even the stadium. I think when Virg goes down, I think there's a bit of a gasp and worry. But yeah, he's a real dominant force, and yeah, it's a pleasure to play alongside.
And from your point of view, Joe, obviously you've had a couple of injuries for a young man, and you've bounced back incredibly well. How far do you think when you look at what you can achieve as a player, and obviously for England and Liverpool, how far do you think you can go?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of ups and downs, and they've definitely put perspective on things in terms of like just being grateful to play the game and always being a student of it. Obviously, I've enjoyed the consistency and I've learned a lot about my body in the time. I definitely took a lot from those injury periods, but I think I'm at a club where there's a platform that speaks for itself, and on top of that, a great manager that's helping me learn consistently. And obviously, my dream is to be the best I can be. I think Virgil's an incredible influence on me and someone I can look up to. And I think he doesn't have many flaws at all. So I think for me, it's just about learning and developing the things that I feel like I can improve. But obviously, my aim is to be up there and try and be the best that I can be, and wherever that takes me. Hopefully at Liverpool for a long time, and hopefully we can achieve the thing.
There have been comparisons in terms of style to Rio Ferdinand. Is that a player that you watch and that you have learned a lot from?
Yeah, 100%. I think just being a teenager, obviously, I looked up to just that pedigree of football, Premier League football, and that sort of top England and top level centre half. And I think also just him being from South East London as well was another thing that made me look up to him. And he's definitely a one of those that I looked up to. Like you say, his style of play is something that I liked and aspired to be like. So yeah, as a young kid, he was definitely a big inspiration. I've
heard on the grapevine, Joe, that you're a bit of a hip hop fan as well. Is this true? That's the one way that you get away from the game?
Yeah, I am. We've had a few hip hop quizzes.
Yeah. What you like? Are you like top draw? Your knowledge going way back as well, or where?
I can't claim the Biggie and Tupac, and I can list all Jay-Z's first. Like, I can't go that far, but I think more general modern hip hop, I'm decent, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, you're Jay-Z or Kanye? There's a question for you.
I'm a Jay-Z. Just off.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit aside from music as well, but I think his catalogue of music is probably not as broad as Kanye's, but I think he's just got that many classics.
And your favourite hip hop album?
My favourite hip hop, it'd probably be two. They're a bit more modern, not that modern. One's "Take Care" by Drake, and then probably J. Cole World. Those are two of my.
That's the one my son keeps talking about, Kelly. I might have to get into that. You know, we were getting a little bit older, you and I. So J. Cole's a young rapper. This is the new school. We're all old school, Kelly.
Yeah. But I tell you what, footballers and Drake, I don't know what it is. Every footballer loves Drake. It's like the equivalent of when the old guys were playing. They used to say, "I love Italian food. I watch Only Fools and Horses on the telly, and I like listening to soul music." That was it. And now the modern equivalent is
Drake and
footballers who love Drake.
For sure.
What was that? That was the thing, Joe, wasn't it? The Drake curse. Was that true or what? I remember reading about that. Was it just some urban myth?
It was to do with like him, whoever he took a picture with. Just everything.
Lost.
Everything went. But I think he takes pictures of that many people. You can select someone from somewhere. But I'm not that.
But okay, here's one for you then. If he'd have come up to you before the Champions League final and said, "Joe, big fan, can I have a quick pick?" What would you have done?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because I know I'd get slated if we didn't win as a result. I'd have to, I don't know. I might be a bit starstruck, but I'd have to probably try and let it pass.
You'd have given it one of them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'll see you after the game, Drake.
Yeah.
Listen, it leads on really nicely to this isolation island question that we've been asking a couple of people who've come on as guests, which is if you're on an island on your own, you're in lockdown all by yourself, you can take one piece of music, one practical item, and you can take one piece of football memorabilia. So while we're on music, what would you take with you?
Yeah, I'd probably take that Drake album, to be honest. Just let that play. My screen time's been a bit scary. I'd take my phone, but it doesn't seem that healthy at the minute.
No.
But yeah, modern day, it's just part and parcel, isn't it? So I probably would take my phone.
That seems like the sensible, practical choice as well. I mean, if you're on an isolation island, you want to get off it, and you need to get in touch with people to be able to do that. So what about, because the football memorabilia is quite an interesting one, having been to the Club World Cup and having been to the Champions League final twice, won it on one of those occasions. You've got options in there.
Yeah, I think in terms of memorabilia, I think it'd be a balance between the Champions League, the final, so the winners' medal, or my debut England shirt. I think those were two moments, like, for me that, it was just pure joy and happiness. I think the rest of the time when you're playing, it's sort of like you're focused on the goal, but those moments, like after those happened, I was like reflective and like, wow, like those were big achievements for me, and those two. I'd have to, I don't know, flip a coin.
And let me ask one more then, Joe. What player would you take with you to keep you company?
In our current squad?
Yeah. Or Charlton days, anyone. Let's give one of your mates from Charlton when you were a young lad, and then someone from Liverpool.
When I was at Charlton, I've got two mates that I'm still close to. One's Tariq Holmes. He's at Bristol now. And then Josh Umera. He's still playing at Ebbsfleet. So, them two would be my go-to mates. And then in the Liverpool squad,
This is a tester. They're all watching.
Yeah. I'd probably say I'm closest to Virgin Genie.
Yeah.
I probably learned some Dutch on the island regardless, but out of them two, I don't know. Yeah, we could each take a further to the island and chill somewhere.
Who'd be more helpful getting you off the island? Who'd be more practical?
To be fair, Virgis switched on. Genie's obviously Virgil's captain. They're both like, in terms of like in Liverpool squad, in that like sort of leadership group of players who sort of like pull rank when decisions are needed to be made. But I think Genie would be more like pushy and get things done. To be fair,
I've got this feeling, Joe, that if you took James Milner, he'd have you up early doing doggies, burpees, press ups.
Yeah, I think Millie, I'll definitely still be fit when I come off the island.
Yeah,
and my diet would be on point. But yeah, I think just for the banter, I'd take Virgin Genie.
Right. On those two pieces of memorabilia, let's talk about the England debut. What was the moment when it hit home for you? Was it getting your hands on the kit, pulling the shirt on for the first time? Was it walking out as a full England player? What was it?
Yeah, I mean, my actual debut was a bit of a surprise, really. It was like during the international break where there was 2 friendlies against Germany and Brazil. So the first game was against Germany and I wasn't starting. I was obviously still very nervous, but in my head, I didn't expect to be like even a first choice sub or go to if there was any injury. So it was sort of like, I'm nervous, I've got butterflies, but like Jamie, it's like preparation is slightly different, whether you like it or not. It's not quite the same as you're starting from the get-go, but quite early on in the game, Phil Jones got injured. I still didn't expect to get the call, but then Steve Holland turned and gave me the shout. So yeah, it was sort of like, it was a blessing in disguise in the sense that I was just thrown into it and straight into the game quite early on. So yeah, it was special. And then we played Brazil the next game, which I started in, but that helped just having that exposure in my debut.
And
it's
especially
not a bad
Joe,
game for your first start, is it?
Yeah, I went into the camp thinking I wouldn't have minded a slightly easy opposition, but yeah, I mean, it's part and parcel playing for England, isn't it?
And you've also played different systems playing for England, Joe, as well. And I always think that to play different systems, you adapt and you actually learn the game to a certain extent. Under Gareth, you play 3 at the back, and obviously you play you play a 4 at the back with Jurgen Klopp. Does that help you as well to improve as a player?
Yeah, massively. I think just to change the systems. For me, I definitely enjoy the 5 at the back as well, because having had some exposure at right back earlier on in my career and at Liverpool, sort of having that understanding of covering a channel but being a centre half, and just knowing as well what your right back wants, what they want from you. You don't want to stitch them up and get them square passes and so on. So I've definitely, just having that exposure and different variations helps massively. And then, yeah, just being at Liverpool and playing the way we play is obviously a completely different sort of variation to a 5 at the back where we have, I suppose in a way we have wing backs that get back as well. So it is similar in that sense, but they've definitely all helped me.
Yeah. One question, Joe, I said, because I'm missing football watching it, and all the fans are especially as well. What are you missing most? Is it the dressing room? Is it the walking out here and the fans think you'll never walk alone? What's the one thing that you miss most about football right now?
I think it's just like, for me, I think I take for granted that feeling of satisfaction when we've played 90 minutes and you come in the dressing room and hopefully you've won, but it's like you just feel satisfied, like you've done something. I think every day you train and like at home for us now, it's like you're grinding through the sessions and it's just like there's no highs and lows in the session. There's no like atmosphere or thrill from the fans or anything. It's just like, it's obviously a lot duller than when you play 90 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I almost feel that we might end up appreciating football more than ever after this, and sporting events, boxing, whatever it is, whatever your passion is, because sometimes you need to reset in life and look at things and go, wow, the amazing, the adulation that you guys get. And I've noticed that football has seemed actually more accessible than ever. You seem a bit more relaxed, happy to do interviews and coming across, I think, extremely well in what is a difficult time for everybody.
Yeah, I think, like you say, it definitely puts perspective on things. I think I think just as people in general, I think when there's a sporting event, like, it's one of those rare moments where you're properly immersed in the now and you're just focused on what you're watching. I think the rest of the time when we're at work or we're just in the house doing things, our mind can be elsewhere. And I think just that 90 minutes is a period where you're watching the game and really emotionally attached to something that you enjoy. I think as the second part, just as footballers, yeah, I think we're definitely in a different mind state to what we normally would be. I think like it was like 90 minutes, stop, recover, and just think the next game. Whereas now it's sort of just everyone's just put in this category. Everyone's normal at the end of the day, and it shows that no one's above anyone. Everything stops at a time like this. Football stops, everything stops. So it just shows that we're all normal people, and I think that's able to come across more now, just because there's nothing to do, and it shows that we're not playing and we're not doing anything to compete. So when you take that aside, then we're just fathers, friends, parents. And so
but Joe, you talk about missing that feeling of satisfaction of a job well done. Take us back to Madrid, to being on the pitch when the final whistle goes in the Champions League final, and you know you're going to get the chance to lift the Champions League trophy.
Yeah, it was surreal. I think it definitely, the fact that it was such a blur was cemented when we went back to play Atletico Madrid, and I couldn't really remember the stadium that well, and so on. I think when we go to Premier League teams now, we know the dressing room, we know the surroundings, whereas that whole experience was such a blur. I didn't really remember what happened. I think as well, I came on late in the game, and it was like just pure butterflies, and I'm extremely nervous. But it was like after that, just that next couple of days where I don't think I've experienced a high-end football like it. Just Liverpool as a city, the way everything came together, and the support we got when we came back was unbelievable. And
because we've seen the pictures of the bus from the outside.
Yeah.
What was it like being inside, looking out?
It was surreal. I think the fact that we basically hadn't slept, came straight back from Madrid, got on the bus, and everyone was still so alive and happy, just shows what it was like. And even now, just looking back at the pictures, where we're going through the town centre, and those will definitely be pictures I'll show my son and be proud to say I was on that bus.
So Joe, what now? What now for the rest of the season, whenever that happens, however it happens, and there are all kinds of possibilities on the table. What next? What do you want to achieve?
As an individual, in terms of the grand scheme of things, or this season? Obviously, hopefully, everything permitted, the season could continue. I think it's sort of out of anyone's hands at the minute, in terms of just things are bigger than football, and hopefully the healthcare system can keep on doing the job they're doing, and allow things to get back to some sort of normality. But I think we have to accept that it might be a long period, and I think as players we understand that whatever will be will be. I think we have to expect a pretty rigorous schedule after this, and so now it's just about trying to keep fit. But I think it's definitely given time to reflect and just prepare for going again. So for me, I just hope to get going again, get some rhythm back, and just keep progressing. I think just the opportunity to play for Liverpool at a time like this is special, and we've got such a young squad and a manager that's here to stay for a long time. Sorry, Jim.
No, sorry. I'm just going to tell Kelly I'll come in next. Sorry, big man. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, just to keep progressing, taking a game at a time, and keep learning. Whether that's with this campaign or the next or whatever happens, I think just to keep progressing and keep challenging every week.
Yeah, and Joe, give me your. I know you've got a 10-month-old. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what's your typical day? Obviously, does the club give you a schedule training wise? How many times a day are you managing to do that? What's your diet like? Are you maybe thinking, oh, you know what, I'll have a bit of apple crumble and ice cream today, or are you still in that match day mode?
Are you doing night feeds?
Yeah.
We're blessed in this. We're blessed that he sleep 12 hours through, so we're lucky in that sense. The typical schedule, the club's been really active. You've probably seen other things of like the Zoom sessions and so on. We'll do yoga once a week, and then the other couple of times we'll do a bike session, or we do like a technical drill session where we put the iPad on the side, and the club have like given us equipment and like try and emulate a training session as much as possible. So that'll be every other day in the morning.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry to cut across you there. What do you mean by that? A technical session? How would that work on a Zoom call? So
like, yeah, it's not ideal, but put the iPad on the side like of the garden. We have like some cones laid out that they describe to us what they want us to do, and then it's back to basics really, like just general ball handling and like juggling and then they'd give us an obstacle. Like we've got one of those like Reebok sort of step up things, and dribble up to it, take it on. Just those sort of general basic things that you can do by yourself. And then the rest of the time we've got like a cardio, like CV sessions. There might be interval runs on a treadmill, on the bike, and so on. So just follow those, and then generally I've tried to do something every day. Sorry. Yeah, I've tried to do something every day. Just for the psychological aspect of things, just keeping a contrast between like chill time and actually doing something active. So Monday through Saturday, I'm pretty focused on doing something. And with food as well, having been through injuries and stuff, I kind of know my body pretty well. I'm into like my nutrition, and I'll watch like my macros, my calories, and be wary of too many carbs and so on through the week. And then on a Sunday, I'll chill and have a bit more of a relaxed day. Might have a few cookies and so on. But,
what's a macro? What's a macro? I've not heard that before.
Oh, it's just like the carbs, proteins, and fats. It's just breaking those down, sort of like just covering those three. But yeah, calories is the main. It's just the amount of carbs, proteins, and fats, basically.
Jamie's asking for tips because he still thinks he can make a comeback.
I hope.
Yes, Kelly.
I'm still in his shape. At that point, I might just balloon after my career.
You were going to say at his age, weren't you? That's what
I'll take that, Kelly.
No. Just that period, that longevity since he stopped playing. I think that's long enough to be in a worse off shape than he is.
I tell you what, Joe, this might actually be something because I suffered injuries when I played, like knee injuries. I know you've had obviously a few injuries. What it tends to do is when you do retire, it stays with you. The fact you've got to rehab, the fact that you've almost got to protect your knee, etc. So when you retire, you might actually, because you've got to still protect your body, and you'll have to always manage that. That might actually be what you're like when you retire as well, in many, many years to come, may I add. Yeah,
hopefully. But I think, like you say, I think just the fact that those that don't suffer any injuries sort of just rely on training all the time. Whereas like you say, me and you have been through periods where we have to take it upon ourselves to do the CV sessions, the strength sessions, the yoga, and so on. So I think just going from playing to nothing, hopefully that helps me.
Yeah, Definitely. I think it's interesting talking, because it feels to me that what's going on right now, you seem pretty at ease and calm with it. And that is maybe because you've had your time away from the game, and it's probably, you appreciate it more. I know I certainly did when I was out for a year through a knee injury or whatever. You seem pretty relaxed and calm about it right now.
Yeah, and I think that probably is down to just having that contrast of not having played for long periods, having to have other escapes aside from football. And I think some people are probably all in or all or nothing, in a sense that they're sort of like robots. Not in a sense, but we all get like that at times when in certain periods of the season it's just football where, I think I'm lucky that at a young age that I suppose it served as a blessing in disguise that, it's not everything's football all the time. And so, like, sort of in this transition, that's helped me definitely.
Well, Joe, it sounds like you've got a busy schedule. You've been given plenty to do by the club, so we'll let you get on with your day. But thanks so much for joining us.
No, thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Joe, stay safe and brilliant, mate. Keep it going. You should be
Cheers,
so proud of yourself.